Each and every one. Today is February 25th, and welcome to the 2nd District Community Meeting. Myself, Councilman Dwayne Halliburton of 2nd District, as well as my colleague, Councilman Kenneth Wissington. We're going to be hosting a very engaging community meeting tonight. We're going to be talking about construction, trade and construction, preparation for construction jobs in the city of Gary. And we got some very informative individuals on the board that's going to share information that will help us out and move Gary to the direction it should be. Without any further ado, we're going to ask, is there a preacher or a deacon that will pray for us before we go any further? Okay, minister, if you don't mind coming to the podium and pray for us, please. Thank you.
How y'all doing? My name is Anthony Alexander, and I'm a deacon at Love Feast Church of God in Christ.
Thank you.
On the corner 2456 Chase Street, Pastor Harris. So that's what we represent.
Thank you.
You ready? Dear Father God, Lord, we thank you for this gathering today, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for blessing all of us to make it here safe and sound. Lord, we pray, Lord, that the words that will go forth, Lord, will be enlightening, Lord, and encouraging to others. We pray, Lord, that we will speak from the heart, Lord. We pray, Lord, that we will put the interests of our city, Lord, at the forefront of this meeting, Lord. Lord, we pray that you will continue to guide our leaders, Lord, and bless them, Lord. Bless each and every individual here, Lord, entrepreneurs, business people, and others, Lord. Bless them according to your will. Lord, we thank you. We give honor to you. And we say all this in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much. Earlier this week, we had a conference regarding the second stage of the demolition in the great city of Gary. And I spoke briefly, and it reminded me of when I was in the Marine Corps, and we were getting ready for training, and we had all the engineers and the CBs there. So we realized when there's trucks, crane operators, we know two things is going to happen. We're going to tear down something, and more important, we're going to build something. And that's what we're on the stage now, is rebuilding our great city of Gary. And with that, I'd like to introduce our guest for this evening. From the Gary Redevelopment, we have Chris Harris. Construction, Corinne's KJ Jackson. Concrete Construction, Corinne's KJ Jackson. Building and Trades, Travis Williams. JMD Construction, Anthony Disco. And Economic Development, Brittany Buggs. We're also having our president, our Chief Operating Officer, Michael Suggs. So where you at, Mr. Suggs? I saw you earlier. There you go. So feel free if you'd like to come in and take a chair and be involved with this discussion. Also, we have a representative from the IU Health, Ms. Ramil Bryant. She's in the rear as well. And when we open it up for Q&A, feel free come to the podium and express yourself. All right? With that being said, I'm going to pass this on to my colleague. He is the chairman of our Ways and Means, and also he is Development and Commissioner for the great city of Gary. Our Councilman at Large, Kenneth Wissington.
Thank you, Councilman. I appreciate you. Just briefly, I just want to touch base on the scope of work that's taking place in the city of Gary. As everyone sees, there's quite a bit taking place currently. Yes, typically not a street you can pretty much drive down major road right now that you don't see construction taking place. A lot of great announcements took place this week in regards to the 60 properties. I'll let Chris Harris touch on that later on in this conversation. But with that, I really want to highlight how to get involved. One of the biggest pieces that we just discussed in the last redevelopment commission meeting 30 minutes ago was discussing how do you acquire property and how do you get a hold of, let's say, vacant or blighted property or just vacant land in itself. If you go to the redevelopment website on behalf of the city of Gary, you'll notice there's an activity map or active map that allows you to click on property as purple highlighted that you didn't consider a letter of request to then receive the property on behalf of the city through our process in which you can go ahead and own the property. That being stated, there's a lot of opportunity to get a hold of vacant land and property to develop yourself. That being stated, one thing I'm a huge fan of, I'm a developer myself, and I'm a firm believer in purchasing property in the city of Gary. I really want to reiterate that Gary is exceptionally hot right now. What I mean by hot is you have a lot of outside investors, large corporations and smaller groups from outside the state of Indiana and outside the city of Gary who are purchasing property at a very rapid rate. Now, for us that grew up here, I'm from Edna, myself. Growing up, I would never imagine that we would see $300,000 properties popping up in Edna. That being stated, that's the hot button right there. So when people are asking why purchasing Gary, the reality is that's how you get a return on investment. And I really want to reiterate, we've been here. It's up to us to benefit. It's too late when we finally realize and we see the new Popeyes and the Chipotle and the Arby's being built to say, oh my goodness, I wish I invested. Now that property that was $10,000 is going to cost $200,000. One thing that I'm a huge advocate of is communicating. Oftentimes we're taught that to get into the real estate business, it costs a lot of money. That's simply not true right now, especially not in the city of Gary. Right now you have access to capital by several ways. One, for homeowners or new homeowners, down payment assistance programs offered to the city of Gary, up to $10,000. With that, we have local bank partners, such as Horizon Bank, with a 1% down payment program that allows you to purchase a house. A personal story of mine that I like telling, especially a lot of younger individuals, and I'm not that young anymore, 31, but I guess some people that is young. I bought my first property here in the city of Gary at 26. When I purchased the property was about $150,000, and I was able to get it for $1,500, 1% down. I put about $10,000 of work into it. I'm a tradesman myself. I was local 20 for several years. I got my start here in the city of Gary doing concrete and working for American Water. That being stated, I'm pretty handy to some extent. I'm not the greatest carpenter, but I can drive a nail. That being stated, I put about $10,000 to $15,000 of work into the property about 3 or 4 years ago, and the property appraises now for $217,000. So simply off of $1,500, I was able to make $60,000. Now I tell that story not to be arrogant by no means, but to simply state you need to get up and get active. And for a lot of our younger individuals and older too, you don't need this grand, robust backing of real estate investors to get started. Because the reality is there's groups from Chicago coming over here with $5,000 making hand over fist, flipping properties day in and day out. Half the people that are renting in the city of Gary are renting to landlords that don't live here and have never lived in the city of Gary. So that being stated, thank you for coming out and being active. And I really want to reiterate, reach out to us and figure out how to get involved, how to get active. Go to our website so you can see the property that is up and is being auctioned away. And with that, learn about our adjacent lot programs. If you live next door to a blighted property, a vacant property that is not owned by your neighbor who is perhaps deceased and we required it through Gary Redevelopment Commission, you can apply to receive that property for free. For free. And I really want the community to know that.
Reiterate that. For
Yes.
F-R-E-E.
Yes. So if you are in your house and you're looking next door and you hate the site that you
Yes.
see, and you say, I wish I can own it and do something with it, you can. It's called our Adjacent Lot Program through the Gary Redevelopment Commission. Please go to the website. Please research. If you have any questions, please send out an email. I got a request this morning to talk about an issue. I can't really dive into too much detail about it, but thank you to our amazing staff for getting
Yes.
that a hold of me. I am exceptionally responsive. So please reach out. If you have any questions, please just call. There's no reason to be sitting idle watching your city grow and your pockets diminish. Thank you, and I'll turn my time over.
All right. Thank you very much. Let's talk about what the city is doing, some of the construction developments going on in the city. And why not, let's start off with you, Gary Redevelopment, Mr. Chris Harris.
Thank you, Councilman, for having me, and thank you for Commissioner/Councilman Wessington for inviting myself and our team here. There's a lot of momentum that Mayor Melton has been able to build up in his administration since 2024. I'll give a general highlight or overview. of all the major accomplishments and opportunity when it comes to work and being able to be employed here in the city. So first off, Mayor Melton, he was the only one in the region advocating for the merger for Nippon and U.S. Steel to be able to not only protect the jobs at U.S. Steel Gary Works, but also grow jobs. So with that merger now taking place, there's going to be a $3 billion investment into U.S. Steel Gary Works, and there will be 1,000 jobs added to U.S. Steel Gary Works. And I've never in my lifetime, and some of you that are older than me can maybe share with me, I've never seen U.S. Steel hiring billboards across the city of Gary in my life. But you do see that here today. So we're definitely appreciative of the leadership and the stick-to-itiveness that Mayor Melton has had to make sure that that deal was able to go through, and he advocate on the city of Gary's behalf that we not only protect jobs, but we grow jobs here with U.S. Steel Gary Works. So they're going to be making $3 billion of investment within U.S. Steel Gary Works within the next 3 years. So there are plans to actually activate the 10 mill. The 10 mill was shuttered about, I want to say 5-6 years ago. That's going to come back online as well. So understand that that and improvements in the blast furnace, all that is real and all of that is actively happening. So we're very appreciative of that opportunity. Then we talk about Indiana Sugars. Indiana Sugars, also in the 2nd District, moved to the 2nd District. They were preparing to leave the city of Gary when Mayor first entered into office. We were able to have conversations with Indiana Sugars to understand what their needs were, to reassure them of the direction that we're going to be taking the city, and being able to work with them regarding the Buffington Harbor itself and how we can allow them to have access there to be able to conduct their operations. And through those negotiations, they were able to expand their efforts, and now they're building a 500,000 square foot facility in Buffington Harbor. The structure is already up. They started construction late last year, or no, early summer of last year, but the structure is now up and vertical, and they're preparing to move forward and adding more jobs to their workforce. So they're staying here in Gary, and they've expanded, and they're going to make that their headquarter operation. They're going to be looking for tenants to be able to occupy the structure that they've developed. Then let's talk about FedEx. So immediately across the street, also in the 2nd District, we were able to work with Transport Properties. They were the successful bidder for 6200 Industrial Highway. We were able to dispose of that property to that entity to be able to develop on FedEx behalf as a tenant. And now we're going to have a 317,000 square foot facility that's going to employ up to 600 people at that plant. So understand that the building also is vertical and is nearly complete. They're going to be doing their interior build out starting in the summer, August 1st of this year, and they're going to be completing their interior build out throughout summer 2027 for operations to be full blast second, third quarter of 2027. Again, 600 jobs also in the 2nd District. So if you have Indiana Sugars, that's roughly 200. You have FedEx, that's 600. And then we're moving forward with the Lake County Convention Center adjacent to Hard Rock Casino. Again, that was a bill that Mayor Melton, before he became mayor, was able to get signed into law with Governor Holcomb in 2023 to bring the Lake County Convention Center next to Hard Rock Casino. So having that opportunity all here in Gary all at the same time, those are direct jobs. Are going to have an influence with indirect job opportunities when it comes to hotels, restaurants. All of that is, down the pipeline for the city. And now we're at a critical juncture where we want to make sure that we're understanding who's in the community. Do you have lists? Can we, share them with other workforce agencies that I know Brittany will be able to talk about in her opening? We want to be able to know who you are and be able to make the connection so we can make sure that our Gary jobs are for Gary people. And then just in general, we've talked about downtown, we've talked about the blight elimination efforts that we're doing here with the help and support of Reith Riley. 60 structures are coming down as we speak. This is our 3rd blight blitz that we've had as an administration. We focused 2 rounds in Etna. Now we've expanded our operations into neighborhoods outside of the Etna neighborhood. And we're just really chomping bit by bit to be able to address the blight problem that we know exists in the city. Primarily, it is concentrated in the core, in downtown and midtown, and we have sporadic acute areas of blight and pockets of our neighborhoods that we need to address. But we're really rebuilding the city, like block by block. Investors are also supporting our efforts. I see a few investors, here in the crowd that have been, putting their own efforts in making a difference in the community because they believe in it. And that's what's going to take is really for all of us to really play our part and really picking up a shovel, and like just get into work because I know this might sound pretty crude or whatnot, but I really mean I personally believe it. I feel like Gary's been through an economic war, and just like World War II, Europe. I mean, I feel like we're kind of at the same stance of having to rebuild, block by block from just pure devastation. But we are seeing those improvements. We're seeing our population stabilize, and we're being able to see homes across the city, no matter what neighborhood, you're seeing homes being rehabbed. Who are these people? Who are these investors? Again, they're from all over the country. Some of them are local, but many of them are investors from outside that have no context to Gary. A lot of them are private equity firms, and they're just kind of blindly putting their money out there in faith. And sometimes that's not always a good thing. You cannot, if you're investing, you want to make sure you're doing your own due diligence because there are people that are being abused here when it comes to not doing their own due diligence here in the city. So please be aware of if you are investing in the city, make sure that you're working with developers and contractors directly, and just making sure that you're doing your own due diligence. And if I could have any opportunity for a PSA, please, if you have any loved ones that own property here in the city of Gary, especially elders, and you have a relationship with them, make sure that your name is on the deed of the property. I've had several people come to my office. We put a property out, through the unsafe building hearing process, and they did not transfer their deed from their loved one to themselves. And the demolition notices were going to that property and not to who the heir was supposed to be. The heir never went down to the county to record the deed in their name or even work with their loved one to make sure that their name was associated with the deed. And then when we're sending out demolition notices, those notices are going to that home and not to who the heir is. It's not our responsibility to chase down anyone who's not on the deed that is not associated with that property address. So our responsibility is whoever's on the deed, who's the owner of that property, we're going to send you a notice. So make sure that if you have a loved one and you have interest to be able to keep moving the ball forward in Gary, that you do your homework. You go down to the recorder's office, you make sure that your loved one is there with you to be able to make sure your name and your address is on the deed of the property so that there are no mishaps moving forward as we begin to clean up the city.
Thank you, Chris. Now we want to bring in Ms. Brittany. How do we get our people prepared for the economic boom that's coming?
Good evening. I am Brittany Buggs, Economic Development Specialist, and that was one of the major concerns for the mayor. He did want to make sure that we were taking charge and making sure that we were enabling citizens as much as possible to be prepared for those job opportunities. We've been working very closely with CWI, the Center of Workforce Innovations, Work One, to identify the gaps in our pipeline into these jobs, and we're finding that beyond technical training, we are running into other issues such as childcare and second chance hiring. So there's a lot of different issues that our citizens are up against that we can't fix unless we hear from them and know. In between, we've had conversations with our major employers. We've sat down with Nippon, we've sat down with FedEx, we've sat down with CWI as well as Goodwill for technical training. So we are working adamantly to make sure that those opportunities are there. There is no lack of training. If you want the job, you can get the job. What we're having difficulty doing is identifying what is stopping our citizens from getting to that first step. The training is available. We're pushing it, and we are finding new ways to get that out to the public to make sure that it's available. Everybody is aware of where to go to find out about job opportunities or training if you need it. However, I'm available, and we have been pushing our contact information, and I know that the city of Gary has not had an economic development department before. It's a new department, so a lot of citizens aren't aware that we're even present. But you are more than welcome to email me, bbugs@gary.gov, call the offices. I am extremely responsive as well, and if you're looking for work, I'm actually looking for you. I want to make sure that if you want to get into the trades, we can put you in the training that you need. If you have anything stopping you from achieving that training, if you have, you need drug counseling, you need childcare, any of those problems, we need to know so that we can develop the programs to assist. And that is the stage that we're at now. We're trying to keep that communication open with the public. We are hosting networking events every month, and if you're looking for work, you're welcome to come there. We're there. I'm present every month. And that's also a good place to meet employers, to meet people who are entering our economic landscape and are looking for employees and looking to connect with other employers. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, and sometimes they think that those networking events are only for entrepreneurs or small business owners, but we want you to come out as well if you're looking for work. That's the perfect place to find me, and I will make sure we get you to the training facility that you need, that we can connect you with job opportunities that are coming. Chris actually named most of the major build-outs that we have coming, but I think the most immediate would be FedEx, which would be hiring probably quicker than the rest of those projects. So we are focused on training citizens for those specific jobs. We want to be ready when they're ready. When the job opportunities come, we don't want to say, oh, okay, now we have 10 welder positions, let's train them for welding. We want you already done and ready. So there's no question of whether or not we have the employees that our employers need.
Great, thank you. And it's a great segue to bring in Travis with builders and trades, but I just wanted to emphasize that there's going to be close to 1,800, I would say probably 1,800 jobs available in the next year or so. And so many times, you know, we go to these sites and we get this, someone asked me about our compliance officer, but it's unfortunately that we go to these sites and no one looks like in our community on these sites. And then when you ask some young man or young lady, did they apply to the job? Well, I didn't know anything. And no, I don't believe that. I believe everyone has a phone, a great source of information. If you want to know the information, you'll find the information. So we're gonna have these jobs available for you, and we just want to get the Gary people back to work, you know. So we want to bring it to Mr. Travis Williams, Building and Trades.
So it's a lot of, hello, check. So, yeah, it's a lot of different things I would love to touch on. So I'm gonna start off by introducing myself. You know, I'm Travis Williams. I'm also a product of Gary, Indiana. I'm the representative for the Carpenters Union, which I represent technically over 39,000 members. It's quite a few people. But one thing that you guys mentioned, Chris, you actually said it, play your part. That really struck home with me. Because too often I hear a lot of people saying, oh, the trades can't, you know, they're not taking us. They don't hire people that look like me, or you got to know somebody. Stop making excuses. I am that example. I came into an organization where I was the only person that looked like myself. Instead of complaining about things, you have to put yourself in a position and educate yourself to be at the table, to be able to make those changes. So anybody I talk to, I encourage them to, you know, be a part of the solution, not the problem. You know, you have to apply yourself. And you mentioned the cell phone device. Also, a lot of people say, hey, how do I get into the trades? You know, this is an organization that's been around for over 140 years. We're not a fly-by-night organization. We have tons of resources out there. There's many different ways you can get in contact with myself. I exhaust a lot of time of just trying to guide people in the right direction. It doesn't necessarily have to be getting into the Carpenters Union. I'm a big advocate of mentoring. We have to do a better job as a collective of mentoring our youth and our just people in the community just to be prepared. Because, you know, my time is valuable, and I can't always pick up my phone and the conversation goes like, I I heard I was giving your number to apply for the carpenter's union. I'm looking for a job. That's not the way to do it. How about you call me and say, hey, you know, I was doing some research. I got on you guys' website. I see you guys represent over 39,000 members. You have all these different contractors. You do pile driving, welding, carpentry, floor covering. Those are things that catches my attention and where you will draw me in to really, now I'm intrigued to know who you are. Because there's many different ways I can connect you and guide you into the organization. Also, I'm a product of the Indiana plan. I know we've been hearing more and more about pathway programs. I came in through this program over 15 years ago. That's another resource for people to join the trade, so we need to tap into those things. Also, we talked about work, U.S. Steel. Prior to me becoming a representative for the Carpenters Union, I actually spent over 10 years at U.S. Steel, and I keep saying it over and over and over. The amount of work that you're witnessing, that's just in 2026 alone, that's what you usually see done in a 3 to 5 year span. So the amount of investment that they're putting into that steel mill is astronomical. I'm estimating around 500 members that I'm gonna have working at the steel mill just in 2027. And that's outside of all the jobs that we're mentioning with the city and all the other developers. These are trade jobs. That's through various multiple contractors that I have working out there at the steel mill. And that's another thing I should mention. A lot of times when I talk about, you know, working in the steel mill, you know, we also have contractors that work in these steel mills that employ our union labor, our carpenters, our millwrights. So the opportunities are out there. You just gotta want it. And like Brittany said, we available. It's not a hidden gem. You can reach out to me. I will definitely talk to you. I don't take the title out of it. I don't care who you are. If you need help, guidance, reach out to me. I can guide you in the right direction. I don't want to keep going and on because I can do that forever.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. We're going to bring you local to, we have 2 companies in the city of Gary. And I just forgot about that. We also got another venture as well as the Brothers Keepers is going to be built as well. So we have something local. I just want to introduce to some of our local companies and have them introduce themselves and tell us about their company and their future projects. Let's start off with Anthony Disco with JMD Construction.
Hello, Anthony Disco, JMD Construction. I've been doing construction for about 28 years in the city of Gary. I started out going to the tax sale, purchased my first house in '98 for $500. Went to another tax sale, purchased another house for $500. Then it got so good to where I ended up purchasing a lot of houses for like $500. But now you can't get that. You can't get that price now. 2026, you can't get that price. But I first started out in construction. I hated it. But I seen how this one guy I was working with him, and he put in a door. It was a raggedy old door. He put in a door, and when I turned around, I went to go grab a hammer. I turned back, he had the door up. And I was like, you made that look that good that quick? That's how I fell in love with construction, because you could see something that just run down and tore up, and you could just build it back up. So that was my pet peeve, that I wanted to really just buy houses that people didn't want to think twice about getting. So what I did was I bought houses that was almost broke down, and I just loved to just tear it down and build it back up. And that's what I've been doing for the last 28 years. So to fast forward, this 2026 has been very challenging, but I had received the project for Powell Coleman Funeral Home. So I'm about to rehab the sanctuary and of course the whole funeral home. So it was rough, but we did a walkthrough with everything, and I was just telling Dwayne and Travis about that, and it was very eye-opening to see an actual morgue. And you know, you see it on TV, but to see it in person is just, whew, you got to have some strength for that. But when they got to telling me all they want, I want to extend this out, I want to make this bigger, I need a bigger door, the casket's hitting this, and I'm like, okay, so you really finna challenge me. So I just told them, I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. So probably in the next month or two, I'll be starting on that. I've been licensed and bonded through the city of Gary for the last 20-some years. I'm residential and commercial. I don't like what I do. I love what I do. It's a big difference. I want to help with our youth to teach. I got an 18-year-old and I got a 17-year-old. I've been working with them for like the last 6 years, and I mean 6 months, and they turning out to be very, very good, and they listen. And these are kids that basically wanted a second chance because of their parents. Basically, like the father gave up on them. So when I went in and met with the parents, and the father basically walked out, and it kind of broke my heart because my father wasn't in my life when I was growing up. So basically, my grandmother raised me. So when I seen that kind of broke me down. But I grabbed that child, I took him outside, and we just rode around. He was hungry, I fed him, and I told him tomorrow, come up to the building, and I'm gonna show you the ropes of construction. And to this day, he has his driver's license now. He has a car. He's online finishing his schooling and everything. And I just said, if I got 10, if I could reach one, I'm the good. So with that being said, I know that it's a lot of them out there. I'm just reaching out to let them know that I'm here. And I'm not hard to find either. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Disco. This next one, he has done more work for my backyard, laying concrete. And he's a very hard worker, and also he's a sons of AMVET. So yesterday, we just had hosted, and we celebrated one of our veterans who was 105 years old. So it was a great honor to be with that. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to bring in Mr. KJ with concrete construction. Let's tell us something about
Good
you.
evening, everybody. My name is Terrence Jackson. Like Travis, I came out of local 1005, which is now 2950. I've been there for 18 years, still am a union carpenter, but I'm also a licensed contractor through the city of Gary now for over the past 5 years. I also teach at Ivy Tech as an adjunct professor for the youth. I volunteer a lot around here. I help out the community, like he say. I notice and I recognize all of the different changes that's been happening and going on in the community. I like to be more a part of it. The crew and the guys that I work with, they all come out of the city of Gary. Everybody, the young men in the summertime, I work with them. I work with young ladies. There's no discrimination about anything. We work hard, we get our job done, and we move on to the next. And I'm a product just out of Gary too. Start off with nothing, bought a house, about 10,000, raised my family, wife and kids. They all 18, 19, and in college. They all gone. Now, time for me to step up and let's keep this ball rolling. Let's make this city better.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Chris, if you could go back to the Brothers Keeper and the new $3 million investment that the city is going to relocate the Brothers Keeper to Washington Street. If you could do that for me, please.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had an opportunity to have a prefabricated or pre-engineered structure donated to the city of Gary. And with that, we were able to cobble together funds to be able to help support Brothers Keeper and repurposing that pre-engineered building for creating a men's shelter on 22nd and Washington Street. Currently, as you know, Brothers Keeper is on 21st and Broadway. The building that they occupy is over 100 years old and has significant issues when it comes to the joists down to the basement, and where we need to get our men in a better facility to make sure that it's safe and welcoming for them and humane for that matter. So we're making a $3 million investment. We're going to be shifting them over just one block onto 22nd Avenue and Washington Street. And we're just very excited for the opportunity to be able to utilize some of our ARPA dollars and community development block grant dollars to be able to make that happen.
Thank you. Also, I'd like to acknowledge our Councilman at Large, Miles Tolliver, in which he's going to discuss later on about the Gary Community Home Buyer Workshop. Is that it? Let's open up for some questions. Feel free to come up to the podium. Don't rush at all, but please do. Let's get engaged. One of the things we want to do is give people information that they can use and pass it on to their family. How you doing, Mr. Gibson? Thank you for coming out tonight.
Thank you all for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Ron Gibson, as Councilman Halliburton just said, and I am working with the our recreated union, the Professional Trades International Union. I call it our ministry, because as the young lady pointed out, see, we do have a training program, but it's hard to get people. Well, we found out that one of the main reasons it's hard to get people, because they have mindsets. Just like old folks got mindsets, young people have mindsets. And unless you deal with that mind first, you're not gonna get them. So I've been going to a lot of local churches. Matter of fact, I was at Councilman Wissington, your grandmother's church, St. Timothy. She was telling me all about you, by the way. But I was there yesterday meeting some attorneys, some professional people. You know, they have young people. So I'm going to different churches where they do have young people, and I'm promoting everything that the city is doing, that we're doing, because it's one thing to build up the city, you know. But in my 41 years before I retired from the electrician union in Chicago, I worked out of 531 in LaPorte, I worked out of 697, and I've worked all over. And the one thing that I've seen is that in Chicago, they hire massive amounts of black people on construction projects. In Indiana, they do not. Because now when I worked in the union, it was controlled mainly by Republican white folks, okay? Nothing against them, you know, I made a lot of money, but they have never, since I've been there, since I was there, hired a massive amount of black people on construction projects. And one reason is because we don't realize, and I'm gonna bring that out now in my brief conversation, I wanna say that just like a human body is made up of different parts, you have kidneys, you have lungs, you have liver, you know, all these different parts, they have different functions, right? But they all work together. And so it is with construction projects. You can't just focus on construction. You have to focus on from the concept of whatever you're gonna do to the end of the project. And just like the construction, just like the convention center, we had, the community was invited to come to the meeting. That was successful, but then we didn't hear anything. You know, and I went to all the offices. I've written everybody emails, and I've gotten, you know, little response. So I reached out to my good friend Dwayne. Dwayne's been engaging me. Councilman Tolliver, Miles Tolliver, who, by the way, helped my son to win the state championship when he was his coach at Theo Bowman. Thank you, sir. But I have reached out, but I'm not getting feedback. I've been online, you know, I know I've been upsetting people, but it's out of love. You know, I don't, you know, I want the same thing that you guys want, but we have to do it in a way that's gonna work. And we have to be honest and address any and all problems. And so here's what I wanna say before I end. I wanna suggest to us that whatever we're doing, we enforce that local hiring ordinance, from conception to completion of projects, and have online transparency so everybody can see what's going on from conception to completion, and then allow us to feedback so we don't have to see you all once in a while. You know, look, the people who are building these projects, who are shutting us out, they meet every single day, and they're getting paid. I don't see any architectural internships, engineering internships, and my son, by the way, is getting a double PhD, one in electrical engineering and one in computer science. Praise God. But the planning, the development, the budgeting, the administration, we need a massive amount of black folks in every part of all those projects, because if we're not there, we're not going to learn how to do the work. You got to be on the job. And in those, you know, internships, when it comes to training, to know how to do the work. It's not just construction. It's not just doing the work. You know, as a matter of fact, I told my son, I want you to research, you know, I won't put too much on him, but I said, I want you to give me information as to how we can make the wires, make the pipes, manufacture the bricks. I worked in industry all my life, and now we need to start looking at that as well. And then building LLC shareholder corporations, so as we prosper, the community can prosper, offer shares of stock to the community, so you all can get rich too. If you do not want to get into the building trades, there's no reason with all this money for all these years to come that you shouldn't get wealthy by what we do. And I want to put that also to the contractors who are doing work, or the developers. Offer a shareholder LLC, a business corporation, and offer affordable shares of stock to the community so we can all become wealthy. And with that, I want to thank you.
Now, Mr. Gibson, when I asked you to be on this podium, you disregarded. But thank you for coming out.
I'm sorry. I must have missed that one. I'm sorry, Dwayne.
Thank you for that great information. There's one thing he stated about compliance officer, and I want to probably bring this to Chris or Brittany about compliance. Is once we have these jobs in these construction buildings, are we setting forth a compliance officer to make sure we got the right people at the job?
I can answer that. So it depends on, for example, if a project receives, if a project receives any public benefit, whether it be TIF dollars or abatement, usually those items are included in that type of contract with that entity. If that is not, if they aren't spending TIF dollars or they don't get abatement, that's established by the Redevelopment Commission and approved by the Common Council, those specific stipulations aren't there. We'll just be candid. But what we could do is we can ensure that we are working together to make sure that we have the workforce ready, and whether it be accepting names from the Common Council, the mayor's office, and we pull those names together, and we take them through Brittany, through Center of Workforce Innovations, to make sure that we're understanding who's being trained and who do we have in our arsenal. That's going to be important for us. But when it comes to a compliance officer, we don't have a compliance officer as we speak, because really that's really regulated based on a project that takes public funding.
I want to say thank you, Mr. Gibson. I did see your Facebook post recently, and I tried to reply with that video, the first video on my Facebook page. To Chris's point, Chris Harris's point, what's your title, Chris? It's Chief Deputy?
Executive Director of Redevelopment.
It's a very high role that Chris plays, Deputy Director of Redevelopment. 2 years ago, one of the very first things I pushed was actually my first day on council, was the $1.6 million for Center for Workforce Development. I was very adamant about it. Coming from trades myself, I was ignorant with trades. Growing up, my family, my grandmother, educator in Gary for 35 years, my mom, same thing. They push higher education. That was one thing. In order to be successful in black, that's what they pushed, was simply education. And to me, I hated it. I'm a country boy. We're originally from Oklahoma. I mean, I'm born and raised in Gary, but originally from Oklahoma. I was a farmer. If you see my pickup truck outside, you understand. I'm a hands-on kind of person, but I was forced to triple major in college: economics, accounting, and finance. I hated college. I was good at it, but I hated it, which is why when I got done, I worked construction because I just love construction. I had no idea you could make six figures working construction. And for a lot of times in our community, it's sad to say, but we push a lot of our youth for this four-year education. And it's great. However, bias, I think the trades are better. And that's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't be successful as I am in corporate America if I didn't go through the trades. What taught me how to communicate with grown men when I was 18, they were 45, were the trades. What taught me work ethic were the trades. What taught me how to think outside the box were the trades. You know, when you got a pipe that's leaking, you got to think quick. Somebody's house is going to flood over. And I feel like that's one thing as a community that we often miss sometimes, is telling our youth that the trades are just as good, if not better, than your four-year degree. And that the jobs are there. And that's why I was adamant about pushing that. And you can watch the video. There was dissension, but I heavily pushed the trades. And I feel like often in our community, we have to reshape how we speak about the trades. And what happens is, I'm sure Travis can talk about this as well, it's it's not the trade's fault. It's typically ours. And like I said, I didn't know what an HVAC tech was. But what happened was I was the only black dude in the field. Every trade job I went to, and I worked all throughout Indianapolis for 5 years. Every job I went Brownsburg, Whitestown, only went out there. And you know, I'm working in those areas of Indianapolis. It was rough. And then you come back home, and then sadly, I went from union to non-union because that's where I was able to fit in. And it was a challenge for me to come back. And, you know, there's sometimes with trades, people talk about, you know, Travis talked about it, who you don't know. Reality is how you apply yourself. And it was easier for me down in Indianapolis because there's a lot more connections in Indianapolis for me at that time. But I think a big piece as we talk about compliance, if it's not in the TIF zone or it's not a part of an abatement zone, we really don't have any stipulations that we can behold people to in that regard to hiring or enforcing a minority stipulation. But I do think we need to do a better job of educating our community and reshaping our mindsets and say a 4-year degree is not better than getting your journey card. Yeah, that's just my personal opinion. And if I didn't get my journey card, I would not be here. So thank you.
By him saying that, Travis mentioned, you just can't go up to the union hall and fill out an application and wait for a phone call. 19 years ago when I got in the union hall, we was in Hobart off of Ripley. I put in my application. I was going to Ivy Tech at the time, living in Michigan City, going to college, trying to finish my construction management degree. I went to Powers and Sons. Mr. Drew Smith said, you can't come work for me, son, unless you got a union card. I said, oh, okay. So I went straight to the union hall. When I went there, Miss Laura, the secretary, like you said, it's different back then. You gotta know somebody. I don't know nobody. I worked at Burger King up the street. Every week I went up there to see Miss Laura, how the application looking, how the process going. She'd turn around, there's a whole stack of envelopes this high. She'd thumb through them. My name was probably like in the middle. The next week, maybe 2 weeks later, I come back. How's it going, Miss Laura? She'll turn around again. That same stack. She'll thumb through them. I'm noticing my folder creeping up. I come do it. I done did this maybe 6, 7 times. The 7th time I got there, said, Miss Laura, how's it looking? She turned around. My folder right on top. Boom. You start. Well, the next step is sit in front of a panel of carpenters. I'm the only brother, all strange people. Ask me all kind of questions. I give them all the answers. They ask me what kind of question I want to ask them. My only question was, when can I go to work? That following week, I'm in the union. Now, just because you fill out an application, well, although my background, my mom was an architect, my dad was a concrete contractor, I've been pushing concrete and wheelbarrows since diapers. So I may be an exception to the rule a little bit, but I was just dedicated to go where it needs to be. Although I struggled too throughout the union with the racism and I deal with it. All I could tell my guys, what sets you apart from others is to be on time, do your job, and that will get you a long ways, just being reliable. Although I may not need you to do anything for me that day, but I know I got a body there, it's important. And in construction, nobody works alone. It's a team effort. If carpenters, we work in a buddy system. If he's doing something, I gotta be close by. So that's how it operates. So there's no reason why there's anybody that can't get into the union. And I teach it at a college level. And I volunteer any day of the week.
Councilman Halliburton, I did just want to go back
go
to the compliance piece. So while that does vary from project to project, that is why we did take the initiative to hold that workforce discussion with the employers directly. So we can't push them to comply a certain amount of jobs, but we can have an understanding with these employers that we understand your needs so that you're not out searching. We already have them for you. So we're trying to create a direct pipeline between ourselves and our major employers.
Travis?
All right, and I'm not gonna go on and on and on, but just hearing your conversation, Terrence, that is a prime example why I do what I do. My calling been a representative for guys like Terrence, that's the carpenters within my organization. That's why I sit at the table, to make sure guys like that have somebody that's gonna represent them when they're in those uncomfortable situations, or when you seeing that non-diverse job site. Well, to your point, Ryan, you know, it's what I was talking about earlier. Be the change that you want to see. I can stand on everything I talk about because it's proven. You know, you're seeing the more diversity in the organization because I'm talking to people in the community. I'm going to explaining them to about the pathway programs, about CWIs and Indiana plans. I'm getting people prepared. Now, when we talk about all these jobs are not just in Gary, Indiana. You still need the contractors that's going to put people to work. Now, we very much have a lot of people in Gary, Indiana that's within the Carpenters Union, but they're working in other different places. They're working at the steel mills. They're working in the solar farms. They're working on Michigan City, NIPSCO plants. We also have members working on multiple different jobs here. We still need more contractors like your JMDs, your KJ Constructions to put our people to work. So we need more and more, you know, partners that's going to, you know, employ our people. But the opportunities out there. You know, the one thing I hate just being a checkoff. Just because you're a Gary resident, we're going to send them out to their job. 4 years ago, when I started as a representative, I was boots on the ground, heavy running. Why don't I have a lot of kids coming from a building trades program like I do in other communities? So the conversation restarted. The conversation has shifted with the building trades. We're very active in these building trade programs. That's why now, for us, I mean, we have a statewide agreement with all public schools, building trade programs. So that conversation has shifted to like what you're saying. We as a community needs to understand to shift our message now, because the conversation of building trades should not be a last resort. It's a resort. We're professionals in our industries. We're not a bunch of handymen and handy women. We're professionals. We graduate our apprenticeship with college degrees from Ivy Tech. Depending on the contractor that you're working for, you may go further pursue that and receive your construction management degree. A lot of people don't know those things. You know, it's what you put into it. The opportunities are out there. You can get all this at a zero cost. It don't cost you anything. It's about what you want. So
Well,
let's talk.
I'm gonna be real brief, but I just want to respond to that, Travis, because that is something that we always leave out. That is absolutely correct. You know, our union does process controls. We do something that the unions have never done. We mentor people who are already licensed, bonded, and insured to help them to build their capacity so they can perform on more than one project at one time. So Mr. Ben Pinnick, who I hope him and contractor Anthony Alexander, they're part of our union. Ben is an expert HVAC, process controls, instrumentation, temperature controls. He's an expert. He teaches it. He used to work at U.S. Steel, Amoco Oil. I mean, the man's a genius. You know, like I said, we just need the kids. You know, but I'm going to get them through the churches though. So we're going to be talking about that. But I'm so happy you said that, Travis. And you know, we need to talk more, man, because see, we're not in competition. I don't do what you do. We deal with people who are we deal with journeymen who have been in the trades over 15 years, and if they want to go into contracting, we help them get small projects, preferably in industry. You know, I do commercial projects and whatnot, but I'm focusing on industry. All these industries, you know, they don't have black folks either, and we're training them to work in industry. And I have connections now with some of the industrial people who will hire them, but I want to do it as contractors and not just a tradesperson. So I'm glad you said that, man, and I'm not going to run up here again.
Thank you, Ms.
Marcella.
Gibson.
And I don't wanna-
Come on, Ms. Marcella.
But y'all come on here.
The next question. It just reminded me that I remember, because when I went to high school, I went to the Career Center for 2 years, junior and senior year. And unfortunately, I think I went to the wrong class. I was in the electronic class, and my parents purchased that TI 55 and a soldering kit. And when I realized I supposed to have been in industrial electricity, that's what was my love was. It was too late, and I swear them 2 years was miserable for me. Go ahead, Marcella.
Okay, awesome. My name is Marcella Gregory. I just want to make, I guess, some random comments. I want to make sure that when we leave here today that we actually do something. We're talking about a process, but we need to come together and make it happen. It seems to me like it shouldn't be that difficult. I look at the Gary Career Center where I went in the 70s or so, and it was packed every day,
Yes.
all day long. And now we got 215 kids there where maybe they house 1,000. Mr. Suggs was here a second ago, but I guess he left. But we need to partner with them. Maybe it could be one space. Or Indiana University is empty. If you go up there's no one in the classrooms. I guess people are doing a lot online. Ivy Tech. It's no reason why we can't get to students at an early age, mentor to them, and then as we mentor to them, they will go into that role. I think that's a possibility. So I just wanted to say that. We got to do something about this situation.
And I'm sure Westside High School, they have the GAPS Career Day in which local alumni or City of Gary come back as a profession to just encourage students.
I think what happens in that case is that we get a one-day seminar and we don't work with them. We don't stick with them. We don't hold their hand. I've called you, Mr. Travis, and you came to a meeting before. I don't know if you remember me, but yes, okay. And I just know that we could do a better job. We have to engage with the youth closer and hold their hand. One day of a conversation does not move someone in the right direction. Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Good afternoon. My name is Albert G. Edwards Jr. I'm born and raised in here in Gary. I see what you all are doing. I appreciate it, but at the same time, I'm upset about our infrastructure of our city. We are having too many trucks, parking spots or whatever. They are tearing up our streets. They're everywhere. Our infrastructure doesn't cost us too much for those things to be repaired because of the fact that they're the ones who are tearing up our streets. The railroad crossings, they're terrible. I didn't tow up my car on them and these potholes. I am a retired plumber, carpenter, and a teacher for the youth. I deal with the youth all the time. We need to focus what you're saying on our youth, because like we need to have something for them to do. We, as a people, don't have the infrastructure that we need to for the citizens to see. When I was younger, I saw old folks say, "Get off my grass." You know, I mean, and then you wonder why is that? And then they get too old to do these things. They need help. I'm them people now because of the fact that I've been here. I've been retired for 5 years. I love it. But see, at the same time, I'm looking at the city and seeing my streets tow up, my car tow up, these railroad crossings. And these railroad crossings don't cost us nothing because they owned by the railroad company. How come we can't have them fixed? You know, something simple, even though we're doing some big things. I love it. But these little inner city projects need to be addressed a lot.
They're getting addressed.
Thank you.
You're sure they're getting addressed?
Thank you for having me, the committee. Anthony Alexander, born and raised in Gary, longtime resident all my life. I'm a licensed tree contractor with the city of Gary. But what I'm here today about is to talk about some plans that I'm putting in motion right now. I've seen Gary, well, let's say I've heard about Gary back in the days from the 50s and the 60s. I lived in Gary. from the 70s to the 90s, when I saw what Gary became. I saw when Gary started making a turnaround in the 2000s, and I see where Gary's going, and I want to be a part of that. So right now, my aspirations are to be a developer. Right now, my goal is to start building up our communities. While I commend the city and everybody who's a part of all the commercial things, I want to focus on the neighborhoods. I want to focus on new construction homes, not the affordable new construction homes, but the homes where working class people, $250,000 price, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,500 square feet. So this is what I want to focus on. This is what I'm focusing on. Right now, I'm looking at property in Glen Park. That's where I'm from. That's where I'm from. Raised in Glen Park on the east side. And right now, Mr. Harris, I have what they call a letter of interest, which the brother called a letter of request. So I put in.
Yes, same.
I put in for the lots that I want, which is almost like a whole block and going around the block. But first thing is first, I want to start with one. This will be my first project. You know, I have some knowledge in construction, rehabbing. I don't have the degrees, but I have the brains. I have the sense to put people together, to go out and get the job done. And so, you know, I've even spoken to the gentleman right here, Mr. Disco. And, you know, basically, site control. I can't do anything without site control. Disco, he won't even talk to me unless I own the property. And so right now, that's what I want to get done. That's what I would ask that this committee, you, Mr. Harris, assist me in getting the properties so I could start building. Gary, we need new homes. Like the brother said, our structure is old. This is an old city. I don't knock the rehabs. I love what they're doing, but we need some new homes in this city. And so that's what I want to do. I think it would be a disservice to this city to not have a guy like me out here who can make things happen. And so that's what I'm here for, to get my name recognized, to put myself in a position to help the city. But I need you all to help me help the city. I just need the opportunity. And with that being said, you know, I'll be down there to see you, Mr. Harris, because I believe from last I heard, you all are not going to start entertaining the letters of interest until March. This is what I was told.
Yep.
I believe someone from your office reached out to me, and so I'm looking forward to that. I need to get these properties so I can go talk to Mr. Disco, and you know, I already have my blueprints for a home that I want to have built already, which I sent to your office.
Okay.
But from my understanding, I might have to scale it down a little bit because it might be a little, I can't do my first new construction house, a $300,000 house in Glen Park.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to have to bring it down. But I just want to get my name to you so you'll know when you see me coming. Okay, I remember you. So that's what this is about. And if any of you all need a tree service, Alexander Tree Service, I'm on deck. You know, give me a call.
Thank you, Mr. Alexander,
Yes,
and
sir.
Ben as well. This is a segue for homes.
Well, I wanted, if I
Go
could,
ahead.
first, I want to tell you, gentlemen, thank you for this meeting. This is excellent, and everybody in the panel. I wanted to actually come to you as a father and a citizen right now, an educator. We had a discussion about the trades, and I think that it's a harsh reality that we're not really realizing, right? We keep talking about what Gary used to be, but we need to talk about what Gary is currently. I work at Lighthouse Charter Schools, and we know that we have to come to the realization that the Gary Community School Corporation is not what it used to be. The schools that you once went to, they don't exist anymore. There's more charter schools in the city than it is public schooling. When you go inside of that Gary Area Career Center, it is outdated. Our children, when we talk about trades, and we say, well, the trades are great, let's send our kids to the trades. That's great, y'all. But they don't even have the hands-on experience that these other areas are getting. So when we go into these job sites, and we say, hey, they don't look like us, our children, one, haven't got the seed planted in their head, and two, they're not ready or taught what's happening on these work sites. When you go into the, and I look online, I look at Lowell or Valparaiso, their career center. Those kids are in there building structures. They're building scaffolding, they're building frames. I can tell you right now, I have no kids in our schoolhouse that are learning that. There's not. So I challenge you, gentlemen, and I think it's a great conversation. Tell us how we can implement a program within our schools that our kids can start to learn what the trades really are. Absolutely what you said is correct. It's cool to be an educator, a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, but guess what? Those buildings can't work unless you have the people building them. And I think that we have to really come with full transparency and say, how can we get our kids involved in the schoolhouse? I'm telling y'all, if y'all go and see these structures and these buildings and these other schools, it look good on paper, but our kids are not learning. And then I want to just say lastly, we need to also take a look and we need to be more focused in these schoolhouses and check these scores. We want our kids to go to Travis Williams and get a job with the Carpenters, but guess what? Look at those iRead scores. Our kids can't read, they can't read a ruler, and they don't know basic mathematics. So we need to go and we need to talk about these things first and get them prepared in order for them to be ready for the next steps. The jobs are here. Now we got to make sure we're paying attention to our children, getting that homework done, getting the tutoring we need, and make sure we're staying on these administrators so our kids can grow and excel to the highest level.
I appreciate you, Councilman Tolliver. I think a lot of that too can fall back on us. Truthfully, after what you just stated to me, as we just passed a budget of $66 million, we need to earmark something, quite frankly. When we talk about the Career Center, what are we earmarking for 2027 budget that states, are we going to allocate $1.5 million? So we did what? I think it was either 1.6 or 2.2 for workforce development 2 years ago. But that's through workforce development. We could perhaps look at an initiative on behalf of the council, work with the administration, an allocation of capital that says we're going to invest X amount of money to after-school programs over the course of 2 years with a set target of X amount of students. And we're going to specialize, because to your point, you can't work the trades without doing math. Like, I had a whole pi calculator in my hard hat because I did HVAC. We did duct work. Mathematics is definitely crucial, and we didn't have cell phones on the floor. So to your point, that's a component that we often don't discuss. The mathematics and reading is very crucial when it comes to construction. But to your point, I think we can do more work.
Yes, we can.
In regards to setting some capital aside to make that happen.
Can I chime in one quick thing? So I can definitely help with that as I go around Northwest Indiana talking to all these different building trade programs, like what he said. They're doing great things, and they're producing a quality of kids that, you know, we're able to bring in more naturally from those programs, because at the end of the day, we got to make sure that kid is safe. You know, you got to at least know how to read, to do the basics, reading the tape measure, and right now we're not getting that. But, you know, I understand that I brought quite a few kids in last year from the Career Center. Currently, 2 of them is working at the Tolleson Project. We got to do better with our kids. It's other programs that's out there creating blueprints and got these kids building homes. Like, these kids are building homes in junior and senior year in high school. I got one building trade program that's got a plan for it's a 30-year plan. They're building 1 to 2 homes a year. They're building a mini subdivision within this building trade program. So with all these, you know, blighted structures that we have, I feel like, you know, we should probably come up with a plan to try to utilize that to get these kids the skills that they need within the program.
You got things rolling now.
So I actually have had conversations with several different types of programs in that world where they are coming into the schools. The students are putting together tiny houses, building tiny house subdivisions. I literally just had a meeting last week with a gentleman who teaches that course to do that with the children. I think what I'm finding in difficulty of making those programs reality is, what is the channel, the proper channel to go through? With the way that, you know, Gary Community School Corporation is, it's almost as if I have to go through the charter schools, which is another conversation. Now we're meeting another wall. So I think that's where the disconnect is. We understand that we need to target the children almost in the middle school, because if you think about it, within the next 5 years, those jobs are ready. That we want that class. We want 8th graders right now to be thinking, next year I'm going to start learning trades. Because by the time they come out, we're ready. We have jobs, and I mean, no shortage of them. And so I think what we need to find is what is the connector between really instilling these programs and who is the proper channel to get it to the children.
I started, I want to piggyback off of that. I got a program that I started about last October. It's called Blueprint for Success. And I had age 13 to 17-year-olds. And it was out of 27 kids signed up. I think I ended up with like 17. I ended up with 17. And when I tell you, those kids were so excited about learning a trade. College is not for everybody. And it's something that I was listening to them talk, and I let them talk, and they told me their concerns. The 16 and 17-year-olds, they were saying that when I get out of school, I want to do construction. I had them teaching them life skills, and not only just construction, life skills. And when I tell you the grades, when I told them I was giving them $10 an A, a lot of them went from B's and C's and D's to straight A's. I had one student, his name was David, I'll never forget him, and I still talk to him. He had B's, D's, and F's. And when his brother, I gave his brother $60 because he had all A's. When I tell you, when I had a graduation in December, and when he came to me and showed me his grades, I just was like, I can't believe this. And just in 3 months' time, he turned it around and he got all A's. And he said, I know that I needed that push. And he just said, and I talked to his mom, and she said, I try my best, but, I'm working, I try to do the best I can. But sometimes you don't have that father figure in the house, that becomes an issue. So I lend my service to them, and I let them know that I'm here for them. But they just need to hear that support, and like you were saying about the kids in the schools, in that eighth grade, in 5 years, they'll be ready. And that's what I'm trying to attack, is that young group to where in 5 years, they'll be ready. So I got another program, and probably in another month or so, I'm going to introduce it again, and I'm going to start another class. But like I told them, I got enough tools to run 3 or 4 job sites. So when I told them that, and they was just excited. So I have a project that I'm going to do this summer, and I'm going to build a house on 43rd and Johnson, and I'm going to have them kids there teaching them the trade.
Outstanding.
That's what I'm going to do.
Outstanding.
43rd and Johnson, this summer, I'm going to have them kids there building a house.
And this go say something that was profound. He said, we're going to turn this thing around. And it may seem like it's a daunting task, but Gary is going to turn this thing around.
That's right.
We're going to turn this thing around.
Got to.
Okay. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Lorana Carter. I live on 6th and Johnson. So I wanted to go back to your adjacent list program, lot program.
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry to break up the children and everything, but I got some issues on my block.
Yes, ma'am.
So what are the prerequisites for the properties to qualify for the adjacent lot program? And then my second question is, so how many complaints about a property would need to take place before you all actually, I guess, be a little bit more proactive with cleaning it up?
Got it. Okay. Well, thank you for your question. So to talk about the side lot program, what are the attributes or what are the prerequisites for a side lot to be able to be qualified? So understanding you have to be a property owner, you have to be the sole occupant of a home. Like, so if you're a homeowner living next to a property that belongs to the City of Gary or Redevelopment Commission, and that property appraises less than 6,000, I'm sorry, less than 15,000, and the property is less than 30 feet wide, that property is eligible for the side lot program where you can acquire that property at no cost. But if a property is larger than 30 feet, you could still purchase the property. You would just submit a letter of interest for both forms, both the letter of interest and the side lot application are on our Gary redevelopment website. So if you go to gary.gov, click departments, you'll see city-owned properties. You'll be able to see a map of all City of Gary owned parcels. And then you can determine, if you type in your address, you see that there are properties that are owned by the City of Gary on your block. You can determine if you're eligible through the side lot program or purchasing a property through submitting a letter of interest. But understand that that property has to be adjacent or contiguous to your parcel. So, like, for example, if you're a homeowner, that parcel has to be adjacent to you. It has to be touching your property, right? It can't be like 2 doors down or across the street or even across the alley. It has to be technically adjacent to your property, and you have to be the homeowner of that property.
If it's more than 30,
Mhm.
then it's not free.
Correct.
Because he mentioned free.
Yeah, so it is free. It's free if it's a side lot. A side lot, the parameter is that it has to be 30 feet wide or less, or appraising less than 15,000. Now, again, that's free. That's free. But what's wider than 30 feet would be a buildable lot. And for a buildable lot, we want to make sure that if we can have an opportunity for infill development, we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to be able to encourage new construction if we could. But even that process, I mean, depending on the neighborhood that you're looking to acquire property, properties might appraise from $700 to $5,000, depending on where you are in the city. And what we would have to do is we'd have to get an appraisal for that property, 2 appraisals, and the average of the 2 appraisals would be the bid amount that you would submit if that property is larger than what's eligible in the side lot program.
That's what I have to do. To that point, most lots you're going to come across in the City of Gary fit that threshold. Majority of property in the City of Gary are within those confines. The spaces outside of that, you're looking at pretty substantial. Typically, your lot, you're looking at 30 feet. Majority of property in the City of Gary is stationed for that. Yeah, about 25, 30. So yeah, most of the properties are within that threshold. Anything past that, you're getting a lot past 30 feet. You about to make $100,000, and we can't just be giving away $100 grand like that. We kind of need the income here in the City of Gary. But yes, ma'am, we can help you with that though. No problem at all.
Come on, Ben.
Good evening. Ben Pennick, 2nd District, born and raised in Gary. Went away for a little while to the military, came on back. So I can speak a little bit to what previous speakers were talking to about the days of yesteryear with the Career Center, because I too attended the Gary Career Center and I took electronics. Went off to the military and came back, and I tried to get into the IBEW, International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and I went to take the test and scored outstanding on the written test, 98% out of 100. So then they said, okay, come on, we gotta give you the hands-on. And the hands-on, they brought a peg board out there, and I was supposed to transfer pegs from one side of the board to the other, and I failed miserably. And they said, well, you can't get an apprenticeship. I said, well, what does this have to do? Can you explain that? Well, you got to have manual dexterity. I said, am I going to be out on the job flipping pegs from one part or other? Or I said, I don't understand it. And to me, I took that as that was a screener to get people that look like me not into the IBEW. So then I've traveled down the road to Purdue-Calumet, pursued and got a double ET degree, and then ended up getting a bachelor's degree in engineering and computer technology. So with all the accolades that Mr. Gibson gave me, strike half of that. Strike half of that. Take that with a grain of salt. But I am. I'm a representative with Mr. Gibson, and our goals is aligned with you, Mr. We want to do exactly what that story you just told. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the undeserved youth, and we're trying to get them where they need to be. And I need some bodies. I need the 13-year-old. I need the 8th graders that don't understand basic math. I can get them there. I've been there, and my whole thing is, if you can do basic math and read a ruler, and here's the extra thing, if you can read a print, a diagram, you are ahead of 90% of the people that you're going to be out there competing with. So that's one of our goals in that. So I'm just looking for support. Bring me some bodies. And then the other thing I want to speak on, there are a lot of programs out there and just we don't know about them. So I talked with Pastor Whitaker. He's got a program, in NCCER backed up program, the Indiana plan. I called the Indiana plan. They got classes that's going to end this week, and then I asked them when the next availability was, and they told me May. I think there should be more. It shouldn't be that spread out. I mean, when they finish one class, they should be able to start another one, because there are enough people out here searching for the knowledge, but a lot of them don't even know about these opportunities. And that's the whole thing. We have to do a better job of communicating what's out there and available. And I know, Mr. Williams, you said, let me ask you, are you part of that local that's on Mississippi Street, just north of IBEW, or is that your?
So I am the business rep that represents all the locals in.
Oh, so you're okay. So that's
Indiana,
just one.
Kentucky,
Okay,
and
I
Ohio.
got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
all right.
so you're familiar with 1005, 599, and
Yeah.
1485. So those
Yeah.
locals no longer exist.
Oh.
We merged all those locals into one local. We have a local called 2950, where that local have close to 3,400 members.
Oh.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So now, how do we get us into those unions?
They have been coming in.
Okay.
You just don't see it. But the increase has been coming in, and Karen's can vouch for it. You're starting to see the influx of more and more people coming in. It's just Indiana plan. Yes, those pathway programs are great, but you still have to bring in quality people. And if the contractors are not out there having the jobs to bring these people in, you're just going to have people that's going through these classes, and that's it. Then it might be months down the road until they can join a trade. Just because you went through a pathway program doesn't mean you're coming into a trade the next week. The jobs have to be out there for this to happen. But Indiana plan, I just met with those guys yesterday. They complete this week. I just met a group of 21 people. I gave them a tour of our training facility. So we're very much connected in that. This communication is out there. The information is out there. It's constantly publicized on social media. It's not a hidden gem. It's just we need people in the community that's also sending out this message to let people know where to go. So it's not a hidden gem.
Yeah, because I teach at Ivy Tech as an adjunct. Y'all talk about the Career Center. We have a big house in there. We build the house over and over again. Me and Doug Sowash. We build the house over and over. We frame it up. We siding, the whole 9 works, the electrical, everything. Then we tear it back down. Then we rebuild it back up. We do this over and over and over again.
Do you have a good amount of participants in your program there?
Well, I'm getting to that. So,
Oh, okay.
So my classes range from probably 11 to 15 students, roughly male, female, doesn't matter. What I do is with them, although they come into a college trying to gain knowledge on construction, I still teach them what they need to know in college, but I still try to gear them back out to the trades. 90% of my students that go to Ivy Tech with me, I kind of convince them to go see Travis. So by the time they get done, before they even finish they Ivy Tech career, whatever they got going, I done send them to Travis, or I done send them to the plumber's hall. I find out what their niche is and what they like. You like electricity, you like to be a plumber. I figure out what they want to be, and then I send them. See, they already took the initiative to be there. So since they already there, they already got the idea where they want to be. But typically in the construction field, there's nobody that got a college degree that's doing the physical work in the construction field. Back in the day, we learned by hand. So long story short, when they do come to college, I send them straight to Travis. And I don't send them straight to them. I groom them. I make sure they got the right knowledge that they need. Then I send them straight to Travis.
Now, are these high school students?
They be high school students. They be older ladies, and they be all.
Oh, so
all-
it's not restrictive. It's not
Nope.
like the Career Center where you had to be in high school.
Right.
And
Well,
you go half a
we
day
had that
over
going
there.
on in the daytime.
Okay.
I wasn't able to run that class because I worked during the daytime. So I worked in the evening time from 7 to 9, and I caught all the adults.
Okay.
Or the teenagers that want
I
to come
got
in.
you, I
that
got
want
you.
to come in.
So you are in use of the Gary Area Career Center facilities in the evening.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Ins and outs.
All right. So another question. All right. So that's one example. Are you guys familiar at all with Pastor Marvin Davis and the New Life Youth Development? Oh, Chris, you are. So he has the building, the old YWCA right there off of 6th and Broadway. What is between? Yeah. So he has a facility there in need of repair, and what he's doing is using students to repair the building. This guy has got all kinds of construction equipment. He took me on a tour of it, and he said he's the same thing. We need some bodies. We need some people to put into these programs so that we're producing some bodies when these contractors, like Ron's trying to get the contractors to bidding on these jobs that's going to be coming through Northwest Indiana. But when they get these bids, they're going to have qualified bodies to work for these jobs. And so that's kind of what we're trying to do, is get bodies. So I guess what I'm saying is it should be a collaborative effort if we can, because we got this program going here, the old Salvation Army building, they got stuff going on there, they got stuff going on here. And finding out about these things is like, wow. I mean, I just happened upon it, you know what I mean? Then I get online, I'll do research, but there's got to be a better way to communicate these opportunities to the folks out here, so.
Thank you.
That's all.
I want to segue right quick and bring Mr. Ramil Bryant come to the podium. We talk more of construction, but there's another underlying message that we need to address, and I'm going to give her some time to talk about that, and that's mental health in our community.
Absolutely.
And
Thank you so much, Councilman Halliburton. I was trying to figure out a perfect segue in my head. I was going to go back to what Mr. Gibson said about mindsets amongst the youth and amongst, and amongst adults. Like Councilman Halliburton said, my name is Ramel Bryant. I am with IU Health, the Congressional Care Network. And so with our program, we seek out people who may be suffering from social isolation or loneliness. As you all know, there's tons of residents who may be living alone, maybe widows, widowers. There may be even children who are suffering from social isolation or loneliness. And so what we do is we find volunteers and we connect them with them, and this is a completely free program. And what we do is we connect them and they give them a call once a week for 12 weeks. And they just have conversations about whatever it is they like to talk about. And it just kind of alleviates, right, some of that social isolation. And just to give you a little bit of the numbers, we've partnered with over 40 diverse congregations to provide companionship to our patients. I know there's been some pastors or deacons that have come up, so I'd love to speak with you afterwards. We've provided companionship training to more than 460 connectors. We've also increased social connections in 89% of the patients. And so this is a really good program. Like I said, it is free. It is absolutely free. There is no cost associated with it at all. We all have neighbors. We all know someone who is lonely. Their children may not live here anymore, and they don't have anyone to talk to. So it's just a good program, and I appreciate you, Councilman Halliburton, for even allowing me to come, especially with this conversation going on. I come from the steel mill. I worked as a steel worker for 15 years, believe it or not. So I could have a lot to say about that as well, but this is the official business that I'm here on. So thank you, everyone, for everything that you are doing. I appreciate the concentration. Yes, it is. So you can give me a call at 219-433-6032, or if you'd like to send me an email, it's rbryant, BRYANT, the number 7, at iuhealth.org. Okay, so again, thank you guys so much. Great conversations, and I look forward to seeing everything that you guys continue to do. There's also flyers over on the table if you'd like more information about it.
Yeah, there's some literature on the right table, and this is what it is: IU Health Congregational Care Network at a glance. I'm going to ask our Councilman at Large, Miles Tolliver, to come to the podium so we could discuss our Gary Community Home Buyer Workshop. We talked about homes now. Let's see if we can get you in the home.
Again, I appreciate that, Councilman. Again, good evening, Gary family. I wanted to notify you that if you ever thought about owning a home or ever wondered where to start, tomorrow is the day for you. We'll be talking about how to prepare financially, how your credit impacts your loan options, who should be your home buying team, down payment assistance programs available right here in Gary, and we'll also have live Q&A. Okay, the people, the Larythia Thomas group will be there tomorrow. Again, I'm gonna give a disclaimer. I'm not saying to go with them, but they're there to give you information about the home buying process. Also, we will have, I believe, Councilman Wizardson will come. He's been fighting for us to make sure that we get the funds for that on that note, so he'll be over there to speak also. But it's a great day. Our constituents have been asking about the home buyer program and how they can obtain it, and I think that is very important for the millennials to get out those apartment buildings and go ahead and own some property that can be yours, and also learn how to upkeep the inherited property that you receive. So tomorrow is a very, very vital day towards the success of our city. This event will be from 6 to 8 p.m. at Tiny's Coffee Shop. Again, that will be at Tiny's Coffee Shop from 6 to 8 p.m. All right. The Eventbrite is still up, so go ahead and grab you a ticket. If you are really, really interested, because a lot of them are taken up, please reach out to the Gary Common Council, and we'll make sure to get you in. Okay. Thank you so much for the time, Councilman.
Thank you much. Time is coming near closing. Are there any more questions before we let our panel say a summation? Any more questions? I'll let you know that, Mr. Gibson. Mr. Gibson asked the follow-up, and I will inform him. It may be a different subject, because I really want to tackle this this health in our city as well. So, but you have Chris, Brittany, you have Travis, you have Disco, you have KJ. I'm sure they can answer your question. All right. Let's move up with Mr. Disco. You have any final words?
I got business cards. If anybody got any information, you can give me a call.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson?
Same here. I have business cards also. Need anything, I'm here to assist. Any given time.
Mr. Williams?
I have business cards. If you need one, I can get it to you. We can talk afterwards.
And you all did not answer my question regarding the property. How many complaints before someone comes out and takes care of it?
Oh, got it. My
Thank you.
apologies. So, if you, I don't know if you've downloaded the Gary 311 application. I don't know if did you have the Gary 311 application? Did you submit your issue to the Gary 311? Got it.
When you've done that, so I'm saying, how many times does it have to be done before there's any action taken?
Got it.
Let me ask you a question. What action are you looking?
Yeah.
Because we're bound because it's there are homeowners. What would you like done? Perhaps that may be.
I would like for it to not be trees next door to me. When I come and park in the back of my house, I want it to look safe. So with this property next to me, and I've showed pictures, it has, the weeds have now turned to trees. No one comes to cut them out, cut them down. There was a year, a neighbor on the other side of me, he and we cut the trees down, but we both work. There's only so much I can do. I'm by myself. I can't do it. So I need somebody to come help, and it shouldn't come out my pocket to pay for somebody else's property. So I believe that if you're saying, well, they pay taxes and that's their house, then why don't you all make sure they come and do something about their yard? Is all I'm saying. I want to be safe when I should feel safe when I come and park in the back of my house. I should not be concerned if somebody is going to jump out of one of those weeds or trees, because there are also squatters that are able to come and they kick in that back door because there's so much rubbish back there. There people dump back in the back. The trees are so high you can't even see. So I can hear them when they come and try to kick in the door, but I can't see who it is, and so it's just unsafe.
Yeah.
654 Johnson Street.
654.
And now the trees are starting to grow again because the weather's changing. And before you know it, it's going to be full of leaves, and I'll have the same issue all over again. And I'm kind of just tired.
Okay. Got it.
Well, thank you. They ain't did nothing about it. So I asked, how many complaints do it take?
Yes.
But I'm taking note of it.
We got that information.
Thank you.
Brittany, you have any final words?
Me, just come and see me. I'm very, very responsive. And also, every third Thursday of the month, we have a networking event at the Railcat Stadium. Please, it's open to the public. It's free. Please come. Even if you don't have a business that of your own, meet your fellow business owners. Meet your community. Meet the people who are active and trying to do something in the city. Come out.
Thank you.
It is every third Thursday of the month. It's from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the Railcat Stadium.
Ms. Harris?
6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Thank you. Just want to make sure that every member of the public understands, about the Gary Side Lot program. If you have any questions about your property or any interested property to confirm whether or not the property is eligible for the Side Lot program, please email redevelopment@gary.gov. That email account hits several members of my staff, so one of us will be able to get back to you to be able to review that property with you to determine if that's eligible and even offer you the right path forward. If it's not eligible for the Side Lot program, how can you acquire that through a letter of interest form and purchasing that through our RFP process. And I'm just very thankful to be here. The city is moving forward, just like what Councilman Wensington has shared. We have a lot of momentum, and this is just the beginning, and we just want to make sure we're making a connection with the public to make sure that you can be on board. And I think that there's a lot of follow-up and follow-through from what we've observed and learned from this meeting that was very constructive. I think this is like a very constructive meeting about how we can start connecting the dots between the opportunities that exist, training programs, abandoned properties that we have that we can maybe use as training opportunities with the local carpenters union. So there's a lot of ideas kind of churning into my head right now, and I'm happy to work with our commission to be able to figure out how we can play our part.
Thank you, Matt. Colleague?
Thank you all for coming out today. I understand there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and I definitely understand the issues in which the city are facing. And to Mr. Gibson as well, I would like to say Facebook is the best way to get a hold of me, but it's not. So please reach out to the office, and I'll get back to you. So I'm not the only person that manages my Facebook. With my time, I know the posts look good. That's because I have a team that's behind me that helps with my social media. So if you contact the office, I promise you I will get back to you. Thank you.
All right, I just want to leave you with a couple of things. I'm going to be bringing back my first of the month breakfast. We're going to be Rise and Shine with me. This is your chance to share more ideas. The next one will be Monday, April 6th. Location will be at Jane's Breakfast, and I will provide the breakfast, or I will pay you your breakfast. Just come. At least 10. At least 10, I'll take care of that. So April 6th on Monday, first Monday of the month, I do my breakfast with my colleagues and invite my colleagues and some of the department heads to come for the breakfast to address some issues. Feel free to contact our office, 219-881-1315, make reservations on that. As well as, more important, NIPSCO. They're going to be having a customer Care Center schedule will be on March 2nd at the Dean and Barbara White Community Center. That's located 6600 on Broadway, Maryville. That's very important. I know we need to get out there. I think they're going to have a lot of information with tables, people at these tables to address issues, to explain. So make sure you all attend that. Anything else? I want to thank each and every one of you all for coming out. Godspeed. Have a great day.